health, and just improving the general prosperity of our citizens imposes great demands on getting the private part of our economies working, because governments can go only so far. Their role is primarily to make policies, ensure that the system of courts and justice and security works, and to do good quality regulation. As far as installing commercial enterprises, generating the bulk of the jobs, trying to ensure that exports are competitive and that we foster business relationships and alliances with the rest of the world is primarily the function of the private sector, and the capital markets can play a very big part. Sadly, our capital markets have moved at a pace that is probably less than what the requirements of the 21st century are. So all of you getting together here, trying to share experiences, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, I think is a timely and important idea, and one can only welcome it. At the same time, this whole meeting is taking place in the context of larger developments in the region. I want to talk especially about the Belt and Road Initiative, which our great neighbor China has initiated under the leadership of President Xi Jinping. And this is a multi-trillion project, and it wants to bring together people not just from the region but from all continents virtually, and to impact fundamentally the lives of billions of people. And I think this network of connectivity, not just of people but of ideas, will be transformational for the rest of the 21st century. And Pakistan is, really proud to play a part in it. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor also provides ways for us to further strengthen our relationship with all of you. And I think the creation of a harbor, the creation of a road network that connects the harbor with Western China, it will reduce the cost of Chinese energy supplies. They don't have to go necessarily through the South China Sea, but through a shorter route that connects directly from Gwadar port into the western part of China. And as you know, the western part of China, there's a lot of effort by the Chinese government to improve its quality of life and standard and bring it at par with the more developed parts of China. And at the same time, this will, the creation of these roads, the economic zones, the harbor, the electricity plants, and so on, will provide us a platform to bring other countries like yours to participate in it, so that it just does not remain a China-Pakistan economic corridor, but becomes a China plus Pakistan economic corridor, and the plus is the rest of the countries who can participate in it. As you know, our country is going through a sort of a transformation. We have had a system, a democratic system in place. A transformation has taken place. We have a new government that has crusaded on an agenda anti-corruption that wants to fundamentally adopt policies that impact the lives of the people. So we have inherited a challenging economic situation. We are trying to, for example, our debts were about 50% of the revenue collected, the debt payment per annum. So we are trying really to figure out a way both to tackle the debt situation, to try to improve our exports, which have not done such a good job in the recent past. But I'm happy to tell you that the current account deficit, it has been reduced in a fundamental way during the last year. And our exports are beginning to pick up. And we have entered a relationship with the IMF for a $6 billion facility, but it's not the money that's important. What's important is that it opens the doors for increasing the quality and quantity of our relationship with other partners, like the Asian Development Bank, like the World Bank, like the Asian Infrastructure Bank, like the Islamic Development Bank, and bilaterals. So that is opening up, and it's a signal to the rest of the world that we want to be disciplined in our financial management. It's a signal to the business community that we want to focus on macroeconomic stabilization and provide a platform where they can come and participate. As the chairman SCCP said, we have a fundamentally liberal foreign investment regime. There are no barriers to foreigners in any sector. There are no barriers to foreigners in any industry. There are no barriers to foreigners for having local partners. There are no barriers to or limits on the percentage of equity they can take. So these are all good quality things, and I think the period of bad publicity because some of the terrorist events of the past is behind us, and really tourism is booming. People are rediscovering this beautiful country and want to do business with it. In our budget also, we have tried to focus on the business. We believe that our country can only fundamentally alter itself if the private sector begins to really perform up to its potential. So in spite of the difficulties and the financial constraints and the austerity drive, we have allocated funds for the private sector, both in terms of building infrastructure for them, but also to provide subsidies for targeted subsidies for electricity and gas and credit, particularly for the export sector. We have also been working hard on the ease of doing business part, and our numbers are improving. They have improved last year, and they will improve much more this year. We are also initiating a privatization program to try and bring high-quality foreign investment as well as motivate local businessmen to come and undertake the job of running these commercial enterprises. As I said, we are also focusing on creating economic zones with a special set of incentives to try and increase investment by China, but also others. So I think these are some of the transformational events that are taking place. We have a leadership, our Prime Minister, who is motivated with transparency and good government. And I can assure you, if you come here, you will find a level playing field. There will be nobody putting their hand in your pocket, and I think you will begin to feel very comfortable doing business and benefiting from the tremendous opportunities that are here in virtually any sector of the economy. So we welcome you. The last thing I want to say is that this meeting is timely. The topic is very important and very interesting, and the right set of people are here. But I'll be honest that sometimes I find that these meetings with all the potential do not fulfill that, because the structure of the meetings might sometimes be too rigid, and people are subjected to boring speeches whole day, and then they eat dinner and go away. Okay, and maybe do a little bit of shopping, which I hope you will, because the economy needs for you to shop. But, my suggestion, my humble suggestion is try not to just have speeches, but allow time for interaction. Okay, if you already fixed the time for speeches, only try to adjust it even now, so everybody can participate. The idea is to share experiences, not listen to 6 speeches. Okay, so this is my one humble suggestion. The second is let's try not to read all speeches from World Bank, ADB, hard disk, okay, and repeat the same things over and over and bore everyone to death. Let's try and be practical. Let's try in plain English to see exactly how should markets be regulated and what really are the simple lessons that are replicable, that can be shared, and that can easily be duplicated, okay? So, because the idea is to benefit from best practice, whether, it is having a transparent system, whether it's having a good regulatory environment, whether it's having a good legal, framework, whether it is having mechanisms for appropriate, safeguards. All these things have been done by some people much better than others. So let us try and find on each of these who is doing a better job and how it can be transformed into local scenarios. So with that, good luck to you. I would very much look forward to receiving at the end of the day or whenever it's appropriate the findings and the good ideas and whatever it is that we can benefit for our country so that we can begin to implement some of those. Thank you very much.